So let's talk about a little bit more about the raffle, Sarah, because we know that a lot of conferences are doing this. A lot of times it's no charge for you to participate in the raffle. How can we make the most of that raffle and not see it as a nuisance and actually possibly convert some of those visitors to customers?
So I think one of the best things you can do is make it so that it's not just a going through the motions process. So if you're involved in the bingo, and people are just coming to your booth, say, well, you're so excited, right? You've got someone at your booth finally, and they're just like, I just came for my stamp. It's like, that stinks. The thing is that might be the case, but they also might not know your company. They don't know what they don't know. So make them work for that stamp. Don't just say, okay, here you go, see you later, and depend on them to ask a question about your company. Some people might do that, but some people don't even realize that that's kind of what they should do. Again, they don't know what they don't know. So don't let them just have that stamp. For them to get the stamp or whatever the transaction is supposed to be for that raffle, they should maybe have to ask a question about your product and service. And let them know what that question is supposed to be. Like that could be part of the raffle rules, that when you go to this booth, you have to say, what's your show special, or what's your flagship product? Tell me one thing I might not know about your company. And then whatever that question is, whoever has that role of taking care of the raffle has a kind of a canned pitch ready to go. So that one minute elevator pitch where they can just rifle it off really quickly. And then if they're still not interested and they want their stamp, okay, then send them along their way. But it could create like, oh, well, because I remember when I was working for a company, they didn't know what I did. And then we would get into that conversation and they'd say, oh, you know what? Even though, like, if it was a medical assistant, my DPM was actually just kind of looking in products like this. And I didn't know you guys were a thing. He'd actually probably be really interested in this. Ta-da, like that conversation wouldn't have happened if we didn't have that initial question come up. So a lot of times it may seem that these people are going through the motions and they're just to get their stamp. They don't know what they don't know. So make sure you make them work for that stamp in case it could go somewhere.
Yeah. So another benefit of this, if every time someone wants a stamp, you give them a little 1 minute spiel about your company or your product or service, guess what? By the end of day one, you will have perfected your pitch and, you'll have figured out the flow and what works, right? So that's an added benefit. But a couple other easy ways to make the most of that quick, I'm just here to get my stamp transaction is have little lead forms that they have to fill out. They have to write down their name and email address. You don't want to ask for a whole lot of information because to them it's not worth it, but name and email address or phone number, whatever. Or they have to give you a business card and you look at the business card and make sure that it has the contact information that you find helpful. Or they have to spin the wheel or play your game, or, like Sarah said, they have to answer a question, just something to get them engaged. So it's not just like, okay, here's your sticker and walk away. Make the most of every little thing, because you never know who that person is, who they might know, and where that might lead.
Right. And you can even make those kind of fun too. Like I'm envisioning almost like a parking meter where you scan something, then the little thing pops out. Like that would just be fun instead of being like, okay, stamp it. Like they've got to do something. And then there's like, boop, it's like, ooh, my ticket.
That would be awesome.
That would be really fun.
Also, if it's a raffle and it's a show that has lead retrieval, buy that lead retrieval if it's cost effective, because then that makes it easy. If they come for your stamp, you just boop, scan their badge, and then you've got all the information that you need.